Hey everybody, this is Michelle Butler. First, I want to say please excuse my appearance. It's the weekend, and this is what I usually look like on the weekend if I don't have anywhere to go. And I am at a friend's cabin this weekend trying to really focus in on schoolwork and get some stuff done. I'm a little bit behind. So I want to respond to the questions for Chapter 1. I have them pulled up here on the side of my computer. So number 1 is, how has your current office, district, classroom, or organization changed to align with societal shifts? I would like to say specifically for our state of South Carolina and the districts that I am familiar with and districts that I've worked in my field, I have unfortunately not seen alignment with societal shifts like we should have seen up until this point. So I think most of you know that my field is deaf education. And in particular, teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, and I'm also a certified educational interpreter. I currently work for a school district, and I provide leadership to the teachers of the deaf in the district as well as the educational interpreters. And I've been in special education for almost 28 years. And over time, with laws and regulations, most states in our country have started to really recognize the legislation and how it impacts deaf and hard of hearing children, and have really worked to implement state regulations and laws that align with our federal regulation. Some states, however, have enacted their states' rights, so to speak, which we know states are able to do that in lots of cases. And in particular, when it comes to educational interpreting, states' rights does come into play. And unfortunately, we live in a state that is at the very bottom of the queue, I'll say, in terms of providing adequate access to deaf and hard of hearing children by providing them or working hard to provide them with educational interpreters that are considered to be highly qualified. South Carolina is in the bottom 3 of all the states in the nation up until recently. So up until recently, South Carolina has really, even though the state has best practice standards for educational interpreters, there was nothing really consistently across the board being implemented throughout the state. And of course, that is the topic of my dissertation. Why has this happened? I'm researching other states in the Southeast, and why have some of them really jumped on this at the beginning and worked to come up with action plans to get this moving forward quickly, and why do we have states like South Carolina that are just pulling up the rope at the end, and now we're scurrying, trying to make up for lost time. So up until recently, South Carolina has not had any statewide standards that have been being enforced for educational interpreters. And so I'll give you an example of that. Within just a 50-mile radius, you may go to one district and they say that in order to be an educational interpreter here, all you need is a high school diploma or an equivalent, which would be a GED. You need to know sign language, but we're really not going to assess how you know sign language. and we're going to consider you to be a paraprofessional, and we're going to pay you as a paraprofessional, and your job description is going to resemble that of a paraprofessional. A couple of miles up the road, you may go to another district and they say, well, you only need a high school diploma to be an educational interpreter here, but we do want you to have evidence of some sort of level of skill, which could be indicated through educational interpreter performance assessment. And if you scored a 3.0, which is on a range of 1.0 to 5.0 being the highest score you could receive. If you have a 3.0, we'll take it. That sounds good to us. Come on over and work for us and interpret for this student. And then there are some districts, 10 or 15 miles up the road that may say, oh, we want you to have an associate's degree. We would love for that associate's degree to specifically be in educational interpreting through an interpreter trainer program. And we would like for you to have at least a 4.0 on your EIPA, and we're going to pay you XYZ. And so the point here is, and I hope I'm not going off on a tangent here, but this is why I'm so passionate about my topic that I'm writing on, is there's been no consistency within our state in terms of requirements for educational interpreters. And so recently a Sign Language Interpreters Act was passed by the House and the Senate. It went into effect on January the 1st of this year, and it specified the use of highly qualified, certified sign language interpreters in every arena except K through 12 education. So the stakeholders in K through 12 education, the South Carolina SCEIC, which is housed at Clemson, the South Carolina Educational Interpreter Center, and stakeholders and interpreters all across the state were like, wait a minute, we have got to put some regulations in there for K-12 because our deaf and hard of hearing children are really they're the ones that are suffering for this. So to go to the next question, and my video is running a little long, so I'll try to hurry. That's where the improvement is warranted, that our state needs to require that in order for someone to be qualified to interpret for children in a K through 12 setting, they must have a certain level of education. The law right now is only requiring a high school diploma, but in about 4 years, that law is going to require an associate's degree, and in 4 years from that point, it's going to require a bachelor's degree. There's going to be a law now requiring a minimum of a 3.2 on the EIPA, and then that's going to gradually increase over those next 2 4-year cycles. So the change is coming, and that's good. Wish it would have happened long before now. And the reason that it's been slow, which is the next question, if the change has been slow, where will you begin? And are any of these changes implemented because of the pandemic? This is not a pandemic issue. This has been an issue in the state of South Carolina for many years. And as we move on as a society, knowing that we have got to provide our children that have special learning needs, regardless of what those special learning needs are, we've got to make sure that we're providing them with top quality education, just like every other child is receiving. And for deaf and hard of hearing children, that means providing them with an educational interpreter that is highly qualified, highly educated, and highly skilled. And I'm writing in my dissertation that also means they should be referred to as a related service provider, which the federal law says educational interpreters are related service providers, similar to speech, OTPT, anyone providing related services, and that they should be paid on that same pay scale. I'm sorry, that was a long video. I can kind of get off on a little tangent on that because I'm passionate about it. But I hope I answered all those questions, and I'll see you next time.